Welcome friends to another Lord of the Rings video. Today we will look at the Elven Rings, their forging, why they were hidden and with whom, and the examples of their powers from across the books. Some solid ones, some debatable examples as well. Let's get straight into it. When Saruman came to Eregion in disguise and befriended the Noldor elves, there he convinced them to aid him to make rings. He sold this lie to them by claiming to be from the Valar, the gods of Middle-earth. Many elves such as Celebrimbor and Galadriel suspected him, but the smiths in Eregion worked with him. Celebrimbor himself made the 3 Elven Rings without Saruman's assistance. But unknown to him, the magic Sauron taught, and I can only assume which Celebrimbor in some way used in the rings making, had a binding magic, which he put into the Elven Rings. When it was revealed Sauron had forged a master ring, and he placed it on his finger, the elves knew and removed their own rings, keeping them uncorrupt, so Celebrimbor sent them away for safekeeping. 1, Nenya, the Ring of Adamant, went to the only person who ever owned it, Galadriel. 2 went to the High King of the Elves, Gil-galad. Those were Vilya and Narya, and in turn Gil gave them to 2 people close to him. To his herald, Elrond, went Vilya, a ring of sapphire, and to his lieutenant, Círdan, went Narya, also called the Ring of Fire. Whilst the rings held by Galadriel and Elrond would stay with them, Círdan would give up his ring to Gandalf. Círdan had the gift of foresight, and so when he welcomed Mithrandir, who would also be called Gandalf, he knew the mission the Valar had given to the Istari, the wizards, and he also knew when Gandalf would return. Here's a quote from the books. "Take this, master," he said, "for your labours will be heavy, but it will support you in the weariness that you have taken upon yourself, for this is the Ring of Fire, and with it you may rekindle hearts in a world that grows chill. But as for me, my heart is with the sea, and I will dwell by the grey shores. Until the last ships sail, I will await you." This fits with Gandalf and how he goes around inspiring people. When he inspires Theoden to fight off the possession of Saruman's magic, could be an example of this. Now we have covered the owners, we can look at what the rings can do. We'll drop in with various examples from the books for the powers they have. Now remember, the elves could only use these after the Battle of the Last Alliance, when Sauron had lost his ring. So long as it remained lost, they were able to do so safely. Only the spirit of him would remain and take time again to gather power. The intention of the Rings Forger was for the Elven Rings to preserve, protect and heal. One of the reasons the elves wanted the Rings of Power was preservation, to halt time, and though long lived on Arda or Middle-earth, their bodies decayed, and so the elves wanted the ring to preserve themselves and the lives they had made safely away from this effect. When they were in the Undying Lands, they did not fall under this influence. With time halted, the elves could remain lords of their domains in Middle-earth. Think of Elrond with Rivendell and Galadriel in Lothlorien. The burdens time placed on them would be taken away. As soon as he had set foot upon the far bank of Silverlode, a strange feeling had come upon him, and it deepened as he walked on into the Nath. It seemed to him that he had stepped over a bridge of time into a corner of the elder days, and was now walking in a world that was no more. In Rivendell there was memory of ancient things. In Lorien the ancient things still lived on in the waking world. Another possible use I've come across people suggesting is when Gandalf fights the Balrog around Moria. It is said he fights him for days, and even as a Maya, a spirit sent by the gods, this might weary him, with the Balrog being a twisted type of Maya itself. But with the ring he could have guarded himself against weariness until he threw down my enemy, and he fell from the high place and broke the mountain side, where he smote it in his ruin. The next point is protection. So with Galadriel wielding her ring, no evil could enter Lothlorien, unless it was someone as powerful as Sauron himself. We see it could also ward off malevolence, which can be seen when the shadow emerging from Gol Guldur is held by the mist coming from Lothlorien. Here's a quote: "Evil had been seen and heard there, sorrow had been known. The elves feared and distrusted the world outside. Wolves were howling on the wood's borders, but on the land of Lorien no shadow lay." It is possible we see Elrond use Vilya, when the ring wraiths are washed away at the ford. This is a type of barrier or protection. Elrond commanded it, answered Gandalf. The river of this valley is under his power, and it will rise in anger when he has great need to bar the ford. As soon as the captain of the ringwraiths rode into the water, the flood was released. And for the last point, healing. Frodo feels that the air around him is healing when he goes through Lorien, and when the One Ring is destroyed, it is thought if the Elven Rings still worked after that, they could be used to heal the things wrong in the world. Here's a quote. "We know for certain," answered Elrond sadly, "some hope that the three rings, which Sauron has never touched, would then become free, and their rulers might heal the hurts of the world that he has wrought. But maybe, when the One Ring has gone, the three will fail, and many fair things will fade and be forgotten. That is my belief." Sadly, this would prove to be right. Now, friends, I turn this over to you. Do you have examples from the books of the Elven Ring's use? Could more have been made of their magical abilities in the books? Have you walked the paths of Lothlorien as if it were the elder days? Comment down below.